Hello everybody, welcome back to another SAFC Fan TV live Sunday bunch. And on the show tonight we have Jacob. Jacob, all the way from down London. Apparently you were at Luton yesterday, Jacob. You all right?
Yeah, doing well, Terry. Thanks for asking. Very iconic away day, put it that way, based on the away end that we had to put up with the other day. But it's what we do for the love of them. And looking forward to tonight's show.
Do you have some vlog coming out of the game, Jacob?
Yeah, managed to record some content yesterday that'll be on the way, in the works at the moment. So yeah, people tune into that when it's out.
Got a busy day working?
No, just a relaxing day off. Just getting ready for work tomorrow, mate.
Excellent.
Yeah, long weekend. Just come back from holiday as well. So yeah, recovering.
Nice one. And also on the show we got Jack Shields. Jack Shields had a long trip down to Luton yesterday. How long did it take you to get back last night?
I think we got back just after 10. So not too bad. I've had longer away days, but not many longer. Portsmouth and the likes of them's a long one. But up at 7, got back about 10. So a long day, but happy for the point. The lengths you go to Sunderland just to get a point, sometimes it makes it all worthwhile, though.
Yeah. And the big question: how are you feeling today? Have you got a hangover?
No, I'm all right. I'm not too bad, to be fair. I've been in worse states, so I'm all right.
I bet you appreciated the extra hour in bed, did you?
Absolutely. I love me sleep. I love me lying on a Sunday. So, yeah.
Same here. I was out on the lash last night, so I was over the moon with that extra hour in bed today. Wayne, how are you feeling today, mate?
Not too bad, thanks, Terry. I've just been saying we're in the process of moving out, so been a bit busy and a bit hectic, but relaxing now. Looking forward to talking about yesterday's game.
Loving the shirts behind you, Wayne. Loving the shirts.
It's a nice little touch I've just put in there. Me new office, so we say, my new home office.
Looking like that, are they well pressed? No, there's no creases in them, is there, compared to the ones I'm wearing?
Steamed. They're steamed.
Steamed, are they? Nice one. Right, so on the chat today, we've got 59 people. We've got evening Jimmy. Jimmy says, evening all, good point. Pleased Sims is back. Gave us the hold-up play we were missing. Steve Royal, a point in the pot to stop the rot. Emma Hansen, yes, the moderator. Emma was on the show last week. Good evening, lads. How are you doing? Absolute champion. CONRAD Tank, hello, how are you doing? We got the old moderator as well, CONRAD Lee. How do peeps? Richard Wiles on the show. Mick Griffiths, the moderator. Everyone and all. And DJ Silver Watson. Evening, boys. We look a lot better with Sims on that, do you think? I think we do. So yesterday we did go down to Luton Kenilworth Road and we drew ones apiece. We let a goal in. 40, what a bad time, let it go in. 46 minutes, 40 seconds or something. But we got the equalising goal. We'll start off with Jack. Jack, you went down yesterday. What was your opinion on the lineup when you first saw it?
There's not much you can really do without the strike. You've just got to try and function as best as you can without one. It looked like it was 4-2-3-1, I think, with Diallo maybe up top. So that's the way it looked like we're playing, with the 3 playing off him. I thought first half we were second best, to be fair, Terry. I thought Luton were the first ones out the traps. They were the ones that had more the possession, more the territory. The game was played in our half. It wasn't a game of a lot of chances throughout the whole 90 minutes, but the ones in the first half were falling to Luton. They were the team in the ascendancy. They actually hit the post from one chance, and just when it looked like you thought we might get out over and get away with it, which would have been a really good effort for us to get to 0-0 at half time if we had done. The sting in the teeth was practically one of the last kicks of the half we concede, and then it does change the game because you have to go and chase things. You have to look at substitutions and things. But first half we were second best, but obviously probably touch on how we improved in the second half. Much better in the second half.
What was your thoughts on the passing yesterday in the first half and the tactical? What's your thoughts on the tactical decisions?
Yeah, I thought we were very, very sloppy, Terry. I thought we gave a lot of the ball away, but I don't know whether that was us being sloppy or a combination of the fact that I think Luton were quick into us. Do you know what I mean? They seemed to disrupt us and unsettle us a lot. That they got on our faces. They were physical. They were quicker to the knockdowns. Every second ball they seemed to win. I think we're a team at our best when we can get an outflow. We can get the ball moving, and Luton, with all due respect to them, they didn't let us get there. They didn't let us get into our flow, and they didn't let us spray passes around. So second half we found it a little bit easier because the change in shape. But first half we were second best to every ball, really, I thought.
Nice one. On the chat we got Michael Bowers. Yes, Michael Bowers got a fantastic channel himself. Point, not a bad result at all, especially as we were losing. These finished top 6 last season. Could do with a winning on Wednesday, though, exactly. Kevin Cowell, evening lads. Glyn Jones also says, good point yesterday. Huddersfield and Cardiff up next 6 points. Saying that a first half, Sunderland hit the woodwork twice. Yes, so Jacob, we hit the woodwork twice, but I thought the keeper had both of the shots covered. I think it was Diallo and Ahmad who hit the post. What was your thoughts on the first half performance and then overall game, Jacob?
First half, Terry, it was pretty mixed, to be honest. Like Jack said, Luton, I thought, dominated possession, but didn't really do much with it in the final third. There's a bit of a lack of quality. I think we had a decent spell towards the end of the half where we were slowly coming back into the game, creating chances. Like was it you said there, Diallo hit the post, and I think it was Danny Bart, I think, may have hit the post of a header as well. And I think it was that 10-minute spell where, looking back on the game, we should have done more to take advantage of it. I think Luton stepped off a bit, and I think they scored through the run of play, and it was a poor time to concede right on half-time. And I think if we got to half-time at 0-0 second half, it would have been a very interesting game from our point of view. But overall, I thought a draw was just about a fair result. I think both sides done all they could to win the game. I think it was pretty 50-50 in the second period. But yeah, we dug in well. We didn't deserve to lose the game, that's for sure. But I think assessing it properly, I think a draw was just about fair.
Nice one. Back on the chat, we have Glyn Jones is a good point. Jimmy, Jack missing next game, silly yellow card, kicking the ball away. Joseph Billingsley, we will win. Huddersfield definitely, and then hopefully to win home at Cardiff. CONRAD Tank. Bart, what we call him, hit the post, and the keeper had no control of that. DJ Sizzler Watson, we must give a big hand to Patterson. Patterson again had another game yesterday. But Wayne, yesterday, what was your thoughts on Tony Mowbray's choice of starting lineup with Diallo back in?
I was a bit surprised, if I'm honest, when I signed to Jack Owen. I'm not his biggest fan. I think whenever he's had a chance to shine, he hasn't really took it. And I think he should have scored yesterday. I think if he'd shot it across the keeper rather than trying, get in the near post, I think he should have took that chance. But I was a bit surprised. But he didn't do too bad. He got better as the game went on. Unfortunately, I think he took a knock, didn't he? Went off. So, but I think just to echo what Jacob and Jack were saying there, the first half, I think our passing was terrible. I think they seemed to be slow. I don't know whether the pitch was well watered, but just the passes weren't reaching the men. We were like lackadaisy, and then like Jacob said there, we were coming back into the game last 5 minutes, and obviously conceding the goal right on half time was a killer. But like we have done in numerous times this season, we've dug in and come back. And I think the point overall, I think they are tired in the second half. They put a lot of effort into that first half. And I think the point was a fair result in the end. We could have even went on nicked it. Once we scored, I think there was only one team going to win it.
So Tony Mowbray, did he get his tactics wrong, Wayne? And what is it with Sunderland only being able to play one 45 minutes game of football?
And this has been a thing, for more than one season now. We've been a one-half team, haven't we? We always seem to be had a brilliant first half, and then we don't come out second half, or vice versa. So I think yesterday, to be fair to Luton, it might not have been his tactics were, but Luton, we know what we're going to get. They're a big physical team. They've got them two big centre forwards up front, and they use them well. I think it took us a while to adjust to how they played, but to be fair, he did, change the system in the second half, and when Sims came on, we looked a different side. I think Mitchell looked good now when he came on yesterday. It changed the game. But I don't know. I think he's still searching for his perfect formation. Really, it's until we come back after the World Cup. I think we're just trying to pick up as many points as we can until we get our first team back. Exactly.
Jimmy, trying to ignore the Mags. DJ, they will go all the way, and they're the richest club in the Premier League. Well, yeah, it's very disappointing, isn't it? Mick Griffiths, at the end of the day, a point is still better than nothing away from home. Right, I want to move on to the team selection. I want to move on to Jack with the likes of Bailey Wright coming back yesterday. Do you think that was a good move? And what was your opinion on his performance? Did he look a bit rusty, or was he all right?
I think it was a very good move, to be fair, Terry, because we've lacked. I think we've lacked a bit of physicality, a bit of aerial threat in the last few weeks, and particularly as Wayne's touched on, Luton seem to be one of the taller, more physical teams in the Championship. They play a lot of aerial football. They're a threat at set pieces. So having somebody like Bailey Wright in, we look a little bit more shrewd at the back from set pieces, don't we? I thought we did yesterday. A bit of physicality, a bit of a nasty player at the back for the strikers to contend with. So I thought it was a good move. And I thought, how did he play? I thought he did all right. I thought he did look a little bit lack of match sharpness at times. Particularly when he was asked to run in behind and chase back towards his own goal once or twice. I thought he looked a little bit off it, but no, overall very, very good, and he gives us another option. Do you know what I mean? I think you're going to have to use Bailey Wright in the right games this season, particularly when Ballard comes back, and Alessi. We're missing Alessi as well, who often plays as a centre half. So there's not going to be many options to play Bailey Wright regularly. But particularly yesterday, I thought it was a very good idea for him playing, and I thought he did okay.
Does this mean to you then, Jack? When Gooch gets fit and gets back, Luke O'Nien gets back to the bench or sits on the bench?
I think so. Every manager that Luke O'Nien's played under, he seemed to convince him that he's warranting a starting position. So maybe it's just my judgment, but I think Luke O'Nien, he does have the option of playing in a few positions. But I think when Gooch comes back, you're looking at it and thinking, where does Luke O'Nien come into the squad? But it's a long season, isn't it, Terry? Do you know what I mean? We've got a lot of games coming, particularly over Christmas, and we're losing 3 or 4 weeks over the World Cup. So he will feature, but I think you'll probably always have one position where he could feature, and that's the beauty of Luke O'Nien, because he could play 2 or 3 roles.
Right, thanks, Jack. But Emma Hansen says on the chat, seemed to me Wright and Bart couldn't play together. Jacob, do you think the partnership's there to be formed? Do you think it's okay? I think it was very rusty yesterday. How do you think their partnership went on?
I think it was mainly I think let's not forget that this was Bailey Wright's first game he started in a while. I think it was his first league start of the season. I think over time it will get better. I think it was just the case of Bailey Wright finding his feet again yesterday. But I agree with Jack. We've needed Bailey Wright back in this side for the last few weeks, I should say. On a defensive point of view, I think we've just, particularly after the last 2 performances, needed to go back to basics at the back, no nonsense, win a lot of aerial challenges, be more commanding and have more of a leadership presence back there. And I think he's the perfect player to bring back into the side to gain more of that. And yeah, he had a decent game at times yesterday. I'm not sure. He may have potentially lost his run and Morris for Luton's goal, but I think then again the cross shouldn't have been put in. I think Sirkin could have done a little bit better. But yeah, on a defensive point of view, at times it looked a lot stronger yesterday, and it's what we've needed for a while. So I think Bailey Wright, with the experience he's got as well, let's not forget he's had experience at this level playing for Bristol City. It's something we could do with the injury hit squad we have right now going into the next few games and approaching the break we have before the World Cup as well.
Jacob, what about Lucius O'Nien? Is the force not with him anymore?
Luke O'Nien, I don't know. It's a strange one. Let's not forget that him, Danny Bart, and Bailey Wright, they were part of that brilliant run we had towards the back end of last season, where we looked really strong at the back, and there's no reason why they can't rekindle that if they play consistently together in the side in the Championship. But yeah, Luke O'Nien, one thing he does add though is energy to the team, and even though he may have been not at his best yesterday, I think he does add plenty of leadership qualities to the side when he does play as well. But it's like you said, Terry, it'll be interesting to know how serious Lyndon Gooch's injury actually is. I heard he won't be back until after the World Cup now, same with Alessi as well. So we are hit in terms of numbers on a defensive point of view at the back. But yeah, Luke O'Nien, I think from what we have available, I think we should treasure it a lot more. And yeah, I think he will be in the side for the next few games.
Yeah, he's a very good squad player, Luke O'Nien. As Jimmy says, he's playing out of position for the majority of his career at Sunderland, to be honest. Does he now have a new position? Is he not a midfielder anymore? Is he now more of a defender, Wayne?
I think, to be fair, I mean, every time he's played in midfield for me, he hasn't really done himself any justice. I think the only time, when he's been at right back or right wing back, and especially when he's been moved to centre half, is kind of where he's excelled. I think it's when every time he's played in his natural position, I think he's kind of struggled a little bit. But it'll be interesting, I think, once everybody's fit, to see what kind of formation Tony Mowbray plays. We've got Huggins to come back, and Alessi as well. So will he go back to a back five? Will he keep the back four? So he's going to have a few decisions to make when everybody is fit after the World Cup. I mean, I kind of wait to see Huggins back in the team, me.
Were you pleased with Bailey Wright yesterday? His performance? Pleased back on the side?
Well, I've been calling to be back in for the last few weeks. I think, like lads have been saying, we've needed him. I just think we've lacked that physicality at the back and an extra leader. Corey Evans is the captain, but I just think we've lacked that extra leadership in the centre half position. So I thought he did well yesterday. I was pleased for seeing him back. So I'd like to see him get a run in the team now, but it'll depend. Like Jack was saying, it'll probably be a game by game thing with him, but. Come January, if he's not getting a game, will he then want to be away?
Right. So, on the live chat, 73 people on the live chat. Glyn Jones says Ballard will make a big difference when back in the team. I'm not sure when Ballard is actually due back. And David Miller, I think someone should mention the fact that Luton goal scorer kneed and decked Bart just before the cross came in and gave him the space to score. Luke put in a cracking block to stop a certain goal. So I never saw that, but if that's true, that's a bit naughty from the Luton player. But yes, 74 on the live stream. Please give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying tonight's live stream. Give us a thumbs up. Try and get as many as possible. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Now, when I seen this, I was basically got a bit of information on Friday night that Diallo was starting, and I was kind of hoping that he would have a good game and play really well, but I don't really sort of understand what Diallo actually brings to the first team personally. I don't think he's good enough for the Championship. I don't even know if he even makes the bench, in my opinion. Jack, what's your shields? What's your thoughts on Diallo overall performance yesterday? And does he even make this? Does he make the squad at this moment in time?
I don't think. I certainly wouldn't. I was surprised, to be fair, as Wayne says. I was surprised that he gave him a start. I didn't think he did a great deal. He made a few runs. He probably should have scored, as has already been touched on, with the only one real opportunity he got. I don't know. I just think what he offers, he's not a striker really. He's not an out-and-out striker. When you play him on the wing, he doesn't seem to get many crosses in or dribble past players very much. He seems to fade in games. I think when I watch him, Terry, he'll have a good couple of minutes, and then 20 minutes later, you're thinking, "Oh, I forgot he was still on the pitch." So, to be honest, when we had him last season, when we said, "Oh, we're signing Diallo again" in the summer, I just thought, "Why?" I don't really see why. Because, in my opinion, if someone's not really shown much in League One for you, I don't know why when you're getting promoted up to the Championship, you'd go and give him another deal. So I've never really been hugely impressed by him, and I feel like every chance you get, you've got to give him a chance. Well, does he really deserve any more chances? Because I don't think he's really shown anything in the matches that he's played. So I was surprised he played them. I don't think he did that much. He probably wasted or missed the best opportunity, the only real opportunity he had in the game, and it was just another one of those sort of 5 or 6 out of 10 performances from Diallo. But he's had a lot of them, and I think now that we're going to increase our squad, but hopefully in January we get some signings in as well. I don't really see where he features.
Back on the live chat, Marion Trowles. Hello, Terry, and all your friends. Hello, Marion. Michael Bowers agreed to David Miller. Cheers. Michael Conrad, thank David Miller. Correct. And if the ref has seen, that shouldn't have been a Luton goal. Wouldn't have been a Luton goal. Glyn Jones, referring to standards, has dropped massively over the last 5 years. Conrad Lee, Diallo summer signing screams of Ricky Alvarez as signed. Emma says, Glyn, I said that yesterday. We talked about the refs in League One. They're absolutely shite, says Emma. That's what she wanted to say anyway. Right, so when I seen Diallo in the starting lineup on Saturday, I was disappointed. It's like going in the cupboard for a bar of Galaxy and you pull out some Tesco's own make dark chocolate. It is absolutely awful. Jacob, what was your thoughts on Diallo's performance yesterday? Is Diallo really any good for the Championship personally? Or are we being a bit harsh?
Well, when I saw his name in the starting lineup, I was surprised as anyone walking up to the ground. But I think, considering the fact that I think Gooch is out and he wanted 09 playing more as a centre half yesterday, I think the main reason Diallo got in is because I think there was a few games last season where he did play, was it right wing back for us? Because I think, judging by who we played yesterday, it did look like we were playing 3 at the back at times with 2 wing backs. And there were moments in the game where, you know, he did look like he was going to do something effective, but it wasn't enough. There was periods where when we needed him, he did sort of go missing at times yesterday. And when you play as a wing back, you need to make a significant contribution. Even though he hit the post in the first half, the second half of felt he did go missing at times. But Diallo, I think that's going to be an area in January where we will look to potentially bring in a right back to play consistently, because I don't think Diallo will be here in the long run. But credit's where it's due. You know, there were periods yesterday, particularly let's consider the fact he's mainly a winger and he was asked to play as a wing back. Defensively, he did look solid at times, but then again, it's always the fear with him. You know, he's going to be caught halfway off the pitch and then he was not going to know what's behind him. But yeah, he was okay yesterday, but I can understand what Jack says. You know, when he's been called upon this season, he hasn't done enough, you know, to retain his place in the side and be a key player going forward for us this season.
Right, back on the chat. Glyn says, on about the referees here, Glyn's in agreement with Emma, referees are shite. Conrad Tank says, people have been a bit too harsh on Diallo, I think. And Mick Griffith says, hopefully we get a better referee on Wednesday night. Right, Wayne, Diallo. Is Tony Mowbray, is he going to be, I would say, should mean enough or harsh enough? Should we sell Diallo in the January window? Because I think we were kind of forced, allegedly, to buy him with this contract situation. Now, obviously, he's not one of Tony Mowbray's players. A lot of players aren't Tony Mowbray's players. But out of all the players that we got, surely we can get rid of Diallo and bring somebody else in? Or am I just being a bit too harsh on the lad?
No, I was just going to say, I think with the Diallo situation, I think we were forced to buy him. It was part of the deal. If we got promoted, we had to sign him. And like Jack was saying, he wasn't really good enough in League One last season. So it was a tough one to take, because me personally, I wouldn't have signed him. Sort of, don't know, does he go out on loan somewhere in January? But I just can't really see him ever making the grade for us, to be honest. So I'd rather cut our losses and try and sell him on, if I'm honest. I don't think it's a bit too harsh. I just haven't seen anything from him apart from the odd moment in game. I think he scored a screamer last year, was it, in one game when he cut in from the left hand side, put the top corner. But apart from that, I haven't really seen enough from him to warrant a place in the team.
Yeah, right. Jack. Does Ahmad actually put a shift in? Do you think he actually puts a shift in? I thought yesterday was a bit weak. I didn't think many players put a shift in the first half, but does he look like he wants to be here?
Yeah, I know what you mean, Terry. His style, he's not someone who's going to, he's direct opposite to Luke 09, somebody who's maybe talent isn't the best, but you can see himself applying himself and putting himself in 100% of the time, and you can never question his commitment. But someone like Diallo, I know what you mean, his style sometimes does come across as a little bit, he's a more on-the-ball player. He's not someone who's going to chase and harry a defence. He's not someone who presses a lot. But I thought he played his part yesterday, Arthur, because I thought in the second half, I thought he did link a little bit well when Sims come on. I thought he did start and pick off space, because I mean the beauty when we brought Sims on was he seemed to occupy more their defenders, so he was holding off 1 and 2 of them sometimes, which I think could work with Diallo. Diallo looks like someone who's going to be better, maybe running behind and with balls played through. So if Sims can play up front and maybe work Diallo off him, obviously until we get Ross Stewart back, that might be something we can utilise, with Sims as the kind of target man, the focal central striker, and then Diallo running in behind and picking off space off the back of him.
So what sort of system is that going to be then, Jack?
I don't know if you'd maybe just go 4-2-2-2, but play one off him. Let's play one kind of Diallo off him. So like 4-2-2-1-1 almost. You know what I mean? Like with you strike up front and then one in the hole. Then your right and left hand side attacking midfielders, and then your two holding. I don't know if that's something you would try and do. You know, and instead of having a central midfielder like a Pritchard, I'm not saying drop Pritchard, but I'm saying you might be able to utilise Diallo playing off Sims in that way, in the role where Pritchard's playing potentially. I don't know. I'm just in theory.
Yes. So Jacob, do you think Sims and Ahmad could be a good combination? And do you think Ahmad's performance yesterday warrants a start during the week against Huddersfield?
It's a difficult one. I think Luton, in terms of the way how they set up and assessed how we were going to set up, considering we had no fit strikers playing from the start, I think they did well on the defensive point of view to double up on him. I think he struggled to find space to exploit, particularly in the first half. But like what Jack said, when Sims came on, I think he had more areas to run into after Sims's effective hold-up play. But personally, I think Diallo right now, judging by the way how he's played, from what I've seen of him since he first came, I think he's more of an impact player. I think he offers just that little bit extra when he comes off the bench, when defences are starting to tire. And yeah, I think that's an option. I think we may, or I think we should go down at Huddersfield on Wednesday night, because I think when Roberts came on for us yesterday, that was the turning point. I think him cutting in on his left, taking people on, and Diallo does that as well. You know, he has got capabilities of doing that. There's been signs, but it's just that final bit of quality where we need him most, where we need him to like have a shot on goal or beat the final man. It hasn't quite worked so far, but I wouldn't, give up on him just yet. I think he has a lot to offer, and we'll see more of him over the course of the season. He will play his part.
Wayne, Ahmad, do you think he actually can make it at Sunderland and actually make it at Manchester United? I think he's going to be like just one of the ones who are going to sell off at the end of the season. I don't think he's going to be good enough for the Premiership.
Not from what I've seen of him, but I mean, didn't there pay something like £37 million for him or something from Atlanta? He's one of the Italian wonder kids, wasn't he, apparently, when they signed him? But I mean, I thought yesterday when he dropped into midfield, when Sims came out, he looked a lot better, picking up space in the midfield and playing the balls through. But I think it's just his style. But I don't know, it's a tough one. I just think, like Jacob says, he's kind of more better coming off the bench. But from what Tony Mowbray has been saying, Tony Mowbray has been raving about him. He said he was amazing yesterday, and I think he praised him the game before as well against Burnley. So I don't know. It's a tough, not from what I've seen him so far, but he's still only young, isn't he?
Well, Tony Mowbray said he was amazing yesterday. I hate to see somebody who was poor yesterday. Wow. Right, anyway, back on the chat. Sorry, Wayne, back on the chat. Jimmy, go back to the Prem and the refs are obsolete VAR. Mick Griffiths, do you think Tony Mowbray made the substitutions at the right time yesterday? And Dan Curry-Roberts, when he came on, looked good, which could have been because he's been getting doubled up on. Exactly. So it did look good when he came on, and also when Sims came on. But substitutions yesterday, Jack. I know Tony's had his hands tied because Roberts has had an injury, a small little niggle, so he couldn't really start yesterday. Wasn't sure whether he was 100% fit to start the full match yesterday. Sims again has just come back on the bench. It was a toss of a coin whether he was going to start the subs bench or whether he was going to be rested to the Huddersfield match. Do you think 60 minutes is 60-minute Tony Mowbray? Would you have made changes at half time, Jack?
Yeah, probably, yeah. When you're 1-0 down and you've been as poor as we've been in the first half, I was surprised he didn't make at least one, possibly even two changes. But when you look at it, actually, when he did make the changes, I thought it did swing the game in our favour. I thought when Mishu come on, I thought he looked energetic through the middle. A couple of, last time he played Mishu, I thought he looked very, very poor and he looked like he was nowhere near fit. So I don't know what he's done in the last week or two, but he looked sharp and ready to go. And I thought he made a difference through the middle. I thought, as we touched on, when Sims come on, he looked like, everything that we've been missing in the last 5 or 6 weeks. I thought, target man, occupy defenders. He won a few aerial challenges. He brought the ball down and actually laid it off to the wings a couple of times. I'm not sure if that's where we got the goal from. Him laying it off to Clark then going down the wing and slotting it in the middle for Embleton. So I think, he did make the right changes. But yeah, I was surprised he didn't make a couple at half time, to be fair, Terry. But I did think that the ones that he made, I thought every one of them came on it and did well. To be fair, I thought Roberts, as we've touched on, cutting in on the right hand side was excellent as well. So I thought he got them all. He got them all right as per when he made them. But yeah, I think he maybe could have gone for a couple at half time.
All right, yeah. So to be fair, do you think that? Do you like when you make 3 substitutions in one go? I think that's too much.
Well, I think you're limited, aren't you? Because you're allowed to make 5 substitutions, Terry, but you're only allowed 3 actual windows when you can make them. So you can't make like 1 sub 5 times, if you know what I mean. You have to, make 2 and a 2 and a 1 and a 3 and a 1 and a 1. What
is the reason for that, Jacob?
What, the substitution rule?
Yeah, substitution rule. What's your thoughts on that?
It's difficult, really. I mean, I think, is this the first season, correct me if I'm wrong, where in the Championship you can use 5 substitutions?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, last season.
I think it's the first season. Jack, you might know it's the first season.
I think so. I think so. I don't know if it was something when they introduced it during COVID to allow for more subs or something during COVID, and they just kept it on from there. I'm not certain. Someone on the chat might know.
Jacob, what's up with your internet? Apparently it's a bit dodgy, somebody was saying there.
Yeah.
Gerard, Tom.
A poor connection tonight. I've tried to refresh a few things to see if it comes back stronger, but yeah, apologies on my behalf.
What was your thoughts on the subs yesterday, Jacob?
Subs, like what Jack said.
Good timing?
I think so, yeah. I backed the timing, the decision making from Tony Mowbray to bring them on at the time that he did. I think what Jack mentioned there was very good about Mishu. I thought yesterday we got to see more of the talent he possesses in the middle of the park, and what I liked about him, even though I think he was brought in to be an attacking midfielder because of, the style we're going for, playing the ball out from the back at the moment. He was so comfortable in, dropping deep and receiving the ball from Patterson in order to start an attack. And he had a lot of energy about him in the middle of the park yesterday, which I really like. I don't remember Mishu giving the ball away once when he came on. I thought he'd done very well to link up with the forward line as well. And it'll be interesting to see whether, Mowbray can potentially adjust the system to see more of him on an attacking point of view rather than him being a potential box-to-box midfielder, because I think he was brought in to be an attacking midfielder. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Mishu, brilliant yesterday. Sims came on as a hold-up striker, done very well to bring people into play, and also Embleton as well. He obviously took his goal really well, but obviously he added more energy into the middle of the park, which is what we were lacking.
Mick Griffiths disagrees with the 5 substitute rule. Should we go back to the 3 substitute rule, Jacob, or are you happy with 5s?
It's difficult, to be honest, but I think let's not forget that there are a lot of teams in this division that will use the 5 sub rule on a tactical basis as well. During, if they're, for example, winning with a few minutes to go, they'll like to, chuck 3 on to slow the game down a bit, gain momentum on a tactical point of view to try and see out the game. But yeah, I don't mind it, to be honest, mate. But yeah, I can understand why people would prefer what it was before going back to a 3.
Right, Alan Walton on the chat saying, is there anybody knows a spare ticket down to Huddersfield during the week? There you go. And also CONRAD Tanker, wasn't it introduced during the pandemic? Harry Football Talk on SAFC. One thing Tony Mowbray needs to say is how to defend set pieces and then score with them. Mick Griffiths also says, just our league, it shouldn't be in any other. Right, Wayne, what was your thoughts on Tony Mowbray's substitutions yesterday? Should he made them a bit earlier?
I think conceding the goal probably changed his whole half-time talk, didn't it, really? But he could have took anybody off apart from the back 4, I thought, yesterday, because we were poor all over the pitch. I thought Pritchard was probably the only one who played a little bit decent in the first half, but any of them could have come off at half-time. To be fair, I think when he did make them, it changed the game. You know, the momentum switched to us. And like the lad have touched on, Mitchell, I thought was really good when he came on. He kept hold of the ball. He was looking for the forward pass in that kind of Corey Evans role. So I was impressed with him, and I thought Sims was a game changer. You know, he was holding the ball up, exactly what we've been lacking, laying the ball off. He was a presence, a focal point. So I think he could have made them earlier, but I think when he did make them, it changed the game. If he'd made them at half time, would we have gone on to win the game? Who knows? But
come on, Jackie, you speak your mind, you speak from your heart. What's your actually gut feeling about Sims? Is he any good or what?
I think he's better than not playing without anybody.
That's true.
Is he as good as Ross Stewart? Absolutely not. I mean, Ross Stewart is everything you'd want in a striker at this level, isn't he? He's aerial threat. He occupies defenders. He presses from the front. And the main thing, as of course, with a striker, the main thing is he puts the ball in the back of the net, which is what strikers are judged on. So if you're judging him up against Ross Stewart, who's one of the best in the league, then no, he's not that good. But considering where we've been, he's playing like almost like a second striker and attacking midfielder, which hasn't really worked, let's be honest, has it, in the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks since we've had both of them injured. We haven't had that focal point up front. We haven't had anybody to play off, you know, when we're struggling. That's another thing as well. I mean, you talk about your striker from an attacking point of view, but a good striker, a good hold-up man can actually take the pressure off you. When we're struggling in games, you can knock it up to the striker, you can hold it up and take the pressure off. We haven't had that. So last week, particularly when Burnley were in the ascendancy in the second half, we didn't have any way of taking the pressure off, and it just kept coming back and back and back. So I think, yeah, I quite like Ellis Sims. I just think, you know, if he can get a good run of games now, it's a shame that we're only going to get 3 before the World Cup. But if he can get the next 3 games and maybe get a goal or 2, get his confidence up a little bit, you know, you might not miss Ross Stewart as much, but he's not wrong with Ross Stewart.
All right, no bother, Jacob.
Well, Terry, I'll tell you what, the amount of times that a Sunderland away end is currently singing about him at this moment in time, you think Ellis Sims is starting games. To be honest, he's become a massive fan's favourite, even though we've only seen him for a few games so far this season. But nah, I think surely that can give him just a massive confidence boost. The fact that he's being sung about amongst the stands at away games, even though he's not been there. I think I was delighted for him, you know, coming back yesterday. I think when he came on the pitch, you could see there was a real burst of energy about him. You know, he was so happy to be back, and you know, it's just what we need at this moment in time, considering we've not played. But to be honest, mate, I think for what we've done without any strikers on the pitch, it could be a lot worse, even though results may not have gone in our way. In terms of the way we've played, I think we've done pretty well, if I'm honest with you. Maybe could have improved on a defensive point of view, but on an attacking point of view, considering we've had no one up there, I think credit's where it's due. But, you know, to have Sims back now, just fingers crossed he doesn't get injured again. But, yeah, we need him. The pressure's going to be on, but I think he can surely, take a lot of confidence from how much he's a fan's favourite at this moment in time. And he's got to start on Wednesday, mate. Got to.
Yeah, I was buzzing his back but I mean, does that mean we're in a false position? We started the season pretty well. We got a good start of the season, up in the top 6. A lot of injuries came our way. I mean, you could name them. There's this Ballard, Sims, Stewart, Gooch, Alessi. We got the number keeps on going on and on and on. So with us not having all those players available, dropping down the table a bit, now we start to get players back. Are we actually in a false position and we could actually be higher? We'll be higher as the season goes on. Jacob.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. I mean, to think of the amount of chances we've missed where we were just crying out for a forward to be on the end of like a ball being drilled into the box, or a brilliant cross that landed in the right area that the likes of Stewart or Sims could attack with ease. You know, we would have scored way more goals with them two fit, mate. I'm telling you. And now we've got one of them back. Let's just hope Stewart's return can be just as smooth as what Sims was yesterday.
So, Wayne, thoughts on Sims? Are you over the moon he's back? Are we in a false position because we have no strikers?
Just like what Jake was saying there, I think it's not as though we haven't created chances. You know, some of our attacking play in the final third's been been tremendous. But I say it's just putting the ball away, and so we've still been creating chance. So if we can still keep on creating them, when he's back, then I think if we can pick up a couple of wins or one win and a couple of draws before the World Cup break, it'll set us up in good stead before when we come back and get all like Roscoe back and Bollard back, and hopefully we can start heading back up the table. I think we are in a false position. I think if we'd kept them fit, I think we'd have still been in around the top 6, if I'm honest, because we've played some lovely football, and with the exception of probably Burnley second half, there isn't anybody battered us at all. So yeah, I think we're in a false position at the minute.
Jack, what's your thoughts on Pritchard? Right, Pritchard at Tottenham, I'm not sure if he was at Norwich, but he was at Huddersfield, dropped down to League One, back up to the Championship, not playing that great at the moment. Is League One Pritchard's level, or is he actually good in the Championship?
I think purely on ability, Terry, if you're just judging his technical ability as a footballer, then he's probably at least Championship level. But I think with Pritchard, the one thing that you don't get is you never seem to get a 90-minute performance out of him, do you? You know what I mean? I mean, he's taken off after 60 minutes half the time anyway. So with Pritchard, but to be fair, it's not just Pritchard, as Wayne's touched on, and you have as well, Terry. Sunderland have been a very 45-minute team this season a lot of the time, you know what I mean? Like, particularly in the last few weeks. Anyway, we've had a good first half and a terrible second half, or vice versa. But I think Pritchard, sometimes you wonder what he's doing on the pitch, because if he's not doing that killer assist into the striker, he's not someone who's going to be grafting for you, really. He doesn't really tackle or put a shift in regularly, does he? Fades in games, and he's not a physical threat. So sometimes you're wondering what he offers the team. I agree with you, Terry. I don't think he's played well recently.
Jack, is that because there's no one to pass the ball to in the final third? There's no strikers there. His game suffered because of that.
Yeah, well, that's another thing as well. I think a lot of the time, as you know, well documented without our striker, a lot of the time Pritchard might have seen a pass there, but because there isn't that central striker playing up front, he might have hung on to it a little bit and then maybe shifted it out wide to try and get the ball into the box, or try an alternative method of attack. So that's probably affected Pritchard as well. I'll probably agree with you on that one. But I don't know. It's a bit of an enigma, because you should always start with him. Looking at our players, he's one of our better players, but if he keeps on playing poorly, you can't really carry passengers in the team. So the only downside is Clark's going to be missing on Wednesday, isn't he? So does he stay in? Because Clark's one of our most creative players, and if you take Pritchard out and Clark out, then you're two down in terms of creativity. I don't know.
Right, back on the live chat. We've got David Miller said, well said. Jacob, that was to do with Sims. Mark Hetherington, Mick, the goalless. The goalies always used to wear green tops. Talking about goalkeepers. Dan, Kerry, hopefully Stewart plays for us again, and we don't let him go in the transfer window. Harry Football Talk and says, Pritchard has played in the Premier League. Yes, he did a lot of years ago. Pritchard needs strikers to feed them with direct passes, CONRAD Tank says, which we just touched on. So, Jacob, is that the reason why Pritchard's form's dropped and dipped, is because there's no strikers in front of him?
No, to be honest, Terry, I disagree. I think the main reason Pritchard's form may have dipped the last few games, I think, because he's just absolutely shattered, mate. To be honest, I think he could do with a rest from this team, but Tony Mowbray...
How if he only plays 60 minutes? How can a professional footballer be shattered if he only plays 60 minutes?
Well, I think because he's had... Judging by, I think, the ages of this squad, I think he's one of the more older members of this squad, and I think he's... Correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's been the most consistent starter out of any squad member this season. I think he tends to drop off as the game goes on, purely because I think, is he 29, 30 now? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think he's in his 20s, doesn't he?
Late
29.
20s.
I think he's
29.
Yeah. On his day, I think he is an effective player, and, I give Pritch a lot of praise, considering the fact when we got him, absolute bargain signing, by the way. The fact that he was willing to drop down into League One and then work his way back up towards the Championship after being released by Huddersfield, credits where it's due. But he can be an effective player on his day. It's the last few weeks, though, it has been a struggle at times. I just feel Mowbray now needs to put more faith in the other central midfielders we've got in this team. But the main reason I think he does get in is because the experience he offers. He seems to, a lot of players, but particularly the younger lads, tend to respond to him. He is a vocal figure on the pitch when you watch him play.
Emma Hansen says, for games, Pritch was always the best player on the pitch, but lately he's been rubbish. But was it last week he was really good before he's got taken off? We got Joseph Billensy says, what's been your least favourite player this season? We might ask that later on. Michael Bowers, Pritchard, easily a championship player for me, but hasn't been great recently. A lot of players, and DJ Sizzler Watson says he is 29. David Miller, let's see what Pritchard does against his old club. Exactly, a good one. Mick Griffiths, I hope Pritchard shouts the Huddersfield fans up for scoring a couple of goals because he'll get some stick. Right, so if you are enjoying the live stream now, please give us a thumbs up. Let's try and smash 100, which is difficult because only 96 watching the live stream. But Wayne, thoughts on Pritchard? How's he been doing? And should we? Well, obviously, we're not going to drop Pritchard. I think it'd be a daft decision to drop Pritchard against Huddersfield, against his ex-team. Do you think Pritchard can bounce back with Sims back on the side?
I think he's looked better the last couple of games. Looks kind of getting back a little bit more like his old self. I think that before that, I was crying for him to be taken out at the time because I thought he's been absolutely terrible. But he's one of them who can produce that killer pass, who can produce that that cross in the box. So it's a difficult one for me. I'd probably keep him in, but he has flattered to deceive the last few weeks. Let's say the last 2 weeks he's looked a little bit better. But I think because when we see Sims back, you might see a different player again. He's got that focal point to look for. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does with Sims back in the side. Right.
So we're going to go on now to man of the match. What's your thoughts on man of the match, Jack? Who played the best yesterday? And also, were you pleased with Embleton's goal? Is he a super sub, or does he ever get a start?
Yeah, I think Embleton. I certainly do as a Sunderland fan. I think I simply forget him sometimes. You know what I mean? We talk about other players, and I sometimes forget he's involved with the team. But I mean, you have to give him credit because yes, Clark did well to beat the fullback and get the ball in, but his finish, that wasn't an easy finish. It made it look easy hitting it first time and getting the guy in it past the keeper. But I don't think it was an easy finish. So, I mean, you could look at it and say, well, it was his goal that got the point. But I think, unfortunately, I can't really see a way that he fits into the team. I think Embleton's issue at the minute is there's a lot of players that seem to play the same position as him, sort of attacking midfielder. I think he's probably one of the weaker options that we've got there, even though he hasn't done anything wrong. I just don't think he's done as well as the other lads that play there in that position. Man of the match, I thought Mishu did well when he come on. I thought Dan Neil was okay, but I would give it to Clark. He seems to be a big game player. When we need Jack Clark to do something, he seems to pop up and do something, whether it's a goal or assist, and he's a constant threat for them. So a constant threat for us. I would have given it to Jack Clark.
Well, I think he just loses it for me for getting that yellow card for stupid kicking the ball away. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean it's daft, particularly when I don't know whether he just wanted the night off, because actually when we were on the coach on the way back, he must have known he was on 5 yellows. And I think, is he from down south? Is he a London lad, Jack Clark? I don't know if he is or not.
Yorkshire, I think.
Yorkshire. Oh, is he Yorkshire? Right. All right, no worries. And it looked like he was making his own way home. So whether or not he's still got a flat in London or something, maybe he just wanted a couple of days off and did it deliberately. But no, in all seriousness, a player of his effectiveness, like I say, a goal or assist most time he plays for us, particularly over the last few weeks, to get another yellow like that, it is stupid and it is unprofessional. So that was the one negative point from him. I mean, if you get that yellow because he's made an unbelievable tackle or got it wrong, or he's pulled somebody back when someone's through on goal, you can say, oh well, that's the way it is. But needlessly like that, it was a bit daft, that. So that's a bit annoying.
Jacob, man of the match yesterday, and who comes in for Clark on Wednesday night?
You know what? I would give it to Mishu. I thought he'd done very, very well when he came on, mate. And I thought him, starting the attacks, coming off the bench and, playing with like free-flowing football, finding a teammate, not panicking on the ball, dropping deep to receive it when we were starting to play out, when we were playing out from the back. Sorry, I thought he'd done it with ease. And, he looked like a player yesterday that had been a consistent person in the starting 11 for a long period of time. Sorry, there's just something going on downstairs in my house there. Mishu yesterday, mate, very good, very good.
Who comes in for Clark then, do you think? Mishu? And move somebody else?
Yes, I think Mishu's ready now. He's ready now. And
do you drop Dan Neil?
I think Dan Neil may potentially keep his place, but I think Roberts comes in for Diallo and Sims. It's tough, man. It's really tough. Yeah, I think Sims definitely starts. Who he comes in for, that's another debate. But yeah, I think Mishu would come. Is Clark definitely suspended now?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it just the one game?
One game, yeah.
Just the one game. Yeah, I think Mishu comes in for Clark. Then yeah, that's my decision.
Right, Wayne. Conrad Tank says Roberts should come in for Clark and Sims for Diallo. Who was your man of the match on yesterday, and who do you think starts for Clark on Wednesday?
Well, for me, I say nobody stood up in the first half. Second half, I'd have probably given it to Roberts. I thought Roberts did well when he came on, and a bit energy, like you said, cutting in from the right hand side on his left foot. So for me, just on his second half performance when he came was Roberts. Who comes in? It's a tough. I'd like to say Misha would give him a start. But an interesting one for me yesterday was Noah Bennett. Was he injured yesterday? Because I'd have thought Bennett would have gotten a start before Diallo any day of the week. But
the second half, he was walking across the sideline in front of the away end, and he looked fine. I don't know why he wasn't involved yesterday. To be fair, I don't know. There was no talk of him being injured or anything, or whether Mowbray just felt that he could have done with, was it a rest from the squad completely?
Do you think he's going to start in the Northeast Derby tomorrow instead then? Jacob?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I think Mowbray, since he's come in, he has tend to use a lot of rotation in terms of the new young lads being given starts for the reserve side. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he comes in for that, Terry, to be honest.
My man of the match, I give it to Patterson again. I thought he had another good display in goal. Michael Bauer says Clark just goes to show in general that some people shouldn't really write off players too quickly. I thought Clark did well yesterday, but I'll give it to Patterson. So we go to Wednesday's match. I heard somewhere from a source that Bennett, and by especially Bennett, was dropped completely yesterday because slightly out of favour with Tony Mowbray for maybe it's the last match he's played, or something that's gone on in training, whatever. His youth, maybe he's starting tomorrow in the under 23s against Newcastle United in the Northeast Derby. Jack, on Wednesday, what formation would you play? Who would you bring in? Who would you job? And what's your score prediction for Wednesday?
I would keep the same formation. I would get out. I'm just looking at the starting 11 from yesterday. I would take out Dijaku. Obviously, Clark has to come out because of his suspension, so there's 2 out. I would probably take Diallo out. I would play Sims up top, Roberts on the one side. Although I might leave Diallo in, actually. Put Diallo in on one side, Roberts on the other, and play Pritchard off Sims. And then I would probably bring Misha in for maybe Dan Neil. So that's what I would go with. 4-2-3-1 with those changes in. What I think the score will be, I think really... We haven't had many wins recently, have we? I think it's only 1 win in 8. I know we've drawn sort of 4, haven't we? We haven't lost a lot, but we need to be looking at these next 2 now and getting 6 points. I think at least at minimum 4, I would say, because Huddersfield and Cardiff, they're down in the bottom reaches. I think Huddersfield are in the bottom 3, aren't they? Huddersfield second bottom in the league, so we should really be going there thinking. I think we should be going there and looking for a win. I think we will get a win. I think we've got. If we can get confident, we start the game better than we did yesterday. Get on the front foot, creating chances. I think we'll win on Wednesday night. I'm going to be positive and say 2-0 to Sunderland.
Nice one. Joseph Billsy says Roberts in for Clark, Ellis Sims in for Diaku. Michael Bowers goes, I'll go with Patterson, 09, Wright, Bart, Serkin, Neil Evans, Diallo, Pritchard, Robert and Sims. Mickey Stewart on the chat. Michael's going 2-1 to Sunderland and Mick Griffiths goes 2-0 as well, hopefully to Sunderland. Wayne, who's your team on Wednesday night? Score prediction and what formation?
I think pretty much right with lads just saying in the chat there. I think Roberts will come in for Clark, and I think Sims will come in for Diaku. I think he'll probably keep the same formation. He'll have 1-9 at right back, and I think Billy Wright will keep his place as well. So I think he'll make the 2 changes. I would like to see Mishu come in as well, for just to give Dan Neil a rest. Score predictions. I think it all depends on his team. If he starts with Sims, I think we've got a chance of winning the game. If not, it's tough, to say where the goals are coming from. But I think he plays Sims, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to us.
2-1 win, nice one. I was led to believe yesterday was supposed to be a 4-3-3 formation. That was what I was led to believe. Maybe it was a 4-2-3-1 like Jack says. Jacob, what was the formation yesterday in your mind, and what would you change for Wednesday, and give us a score prediction?
It looked like, pure this is my point of view, from what I saw, it looked like a 3-5-2 we're playing, or 3-5-1-1. I think Clark, I think, was just dropping in behind Diallo, and they were like sort of playing off each other as like false nines. In terms of formation and changes I'd make, I would go to a 3-4-3. I think Onine, Bart and Wright will be the centre halves. Evans, obviously, in the middle. Dan Neil will drop out. Mishu will come in. You know what? I thought Diaco, I think if we're going to play with wing backs, I think he may want to stick with Diaco on that side because he has had experience playing there before. I think the front three will be Roberts, Sims and Diallo.
Nice one. Is anybody actually popping over to the St James's Park and watching the under-23s play tomorrow night? Is that maybe his bar could be starting tomorrow night, Jack?
Possibly, yeah. I think you will see a few of the sort of ones that are on the fringes of the first team play bar, potentially Bennett, depending on how fit he is. I don't think it's a fitness issue, so I think that would be an ideal opportunity to throw him in there. And I think it'll be interesting to see how these do, because it's not a first team game, but it adds a little bit of flavour, doesn't it, to Newcastle, seeing how they react, how they can get themselves up for that, and if they can handle that. I know it's not going to be obviously 50,000 at St James's, but maybe that puts them in the right frame of mind to start regularly. So it does give them a good opportunity. So yeah, we'll probably play Bart and Bennett if we can.
Nice one. Michael Bowles on the chat, right? And on says it was 50 loyalty points to get a ticket for tomorrow. 50 loyalty points to get a ticket for tomorrow. Is that for St James's Park? Michael Bowles says we need to get through the next 3 games. Hopefully, and we'll get the likes of Alessia, Stewart, Ballard, Gooch, etc. back. Now, Jack, Ross Stewart was talking to somebody during the week when I think there was some sort of open day for the youngsters to go and see some of the players during the week. And I think he was asked, and he was basically saying he's going to be back quicker than you actually think. Wayne, do we go in and get a new striker in the January window?
I think we have to. I think, lessons have got to be learned. We kind of just got on with Ellis, Sims and Roscoe. I think we have to have a third backup striker. Whether it's somebody on loan, I don't know, or I don't think we'll get a permanent. I think we might get somebody on loan to tide us out at the end of the season. But I think we have to. I don't think we've got a choice. We kind of, after what's happened these last 7, 8, 9 games, I think we can't take that chance to spend the second half of the season with only 2 strikers. Right, agreed. Jack?
Yeah, I think someone in January. I think, yeah, definitely we need a third option just in case that happens again. It's a long season as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? So you're going to get knocks. You're playing Saturday, Tuesday a lot of the time. So, yeah, I agree with Wayne. A third option on loan, maybe from a Premier League club, someone who's maybe not out of favour with a Premier League club, bit of experience, because we are lacking a little bit of experience in the squad as well. Not just up front, throughout the whole squad. We've got a lot of young players, but sometimes a little shred of experience could help you in certain situations. So I would definitely get a third option in.
Jacob?
Yeah, absolutely. What Wayne was saying, particularly getting in a striker in case injuries come to the surface again. We just don't want to be in that situation where we're just left with no one fit to play up top. We need one fit striker, at least a striker fit consistently now to the end of the season. And listen, I think considering the fact also, I know it's worst case scenario, but clubs will be, if Stewart comes back in before Christmas and starts firing on all cylinders, other clubs will be looking at his contract, I think, because he's got 1 more year left at the end of this season. Correct me if I'm wrong. They'll be looking to put bids in. I'm telling you, if he comes back and starts playing well straight away. But that is something we need to address as well. Stuart's contract situation.
Nice one. Right, so a big thank you to everyone on the live chat tonight. Thanks for watching the stream. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also my prediction for Wednesday, I'm going to go 3-1 to Sunderland away. Sims to get a goal. Right, so everybody, thanks for being on the chat tonight. Thanks for being on the stream tonight. Wayne, say good night. Bye to everybody.
Yeah, good night. Thanks for watching. Have a good week, and anybody going to Huddersfield, bring back them 3 points with you.
Jacob, are you off to Huddersfield on Wednesday or not?
No, I can't.
Too
make
far
that
north?
one. Yeah, it's tough for me going up there for a Wednesday.
Especially on a school night.
Yeah, I'm going to work the next day, but I'll be at Birmingham in a few weeks. Whoever's about for that, definitely come and say hello.
Do you want to say goodbye?
Keep the faith. And
Jack, you not fancy the North East Derby tomorrow night?
No, not tomorrow night. Not for me, that one. But I am going down on Wednesday night to Huddersfield. So if anyone in the chat's down there Wednesday night, get us a pint in for the lads. And, I'll see you all later, lads and lasses.
Thank you. Right, thanks everybody for being on the chat tonight. Take care. God bless me. God go with you. We'll see you later. Hopefully next Sunday on the Sunday Bunch. Good night.